Welcome to Early Learning and Childcare Administration Week 9. Commencing this week, we are going to be talking about the fostering of quality in early learning and childcare settings as a part of the role of the childcare administrator. When you enter into your Brightspace and in the content for week 9 under fostering quality recruitment and retention, you will notice that there are a lot of resources in there for you to review. Some of them are required reading, and then there are some for your reference. And I believe even the ones for your reference will add a lot to your growth and knowledge as an administrator supporting quality within an early learning facility. So some of the required readings would be around the CCHRSC recruitment and retention document, and so that would be pages 19 to 30. I have included the New Brunswick EECD Early Learning and Childcare Services Annual Statistics Report from 2019 and 2020. I think it's really interesting to see how EECD begins to gather statistics from the early learning and childcare sector. And within this report, it's going to talk about wages, retention of staff, and some of the initiatives that have been undertaken. So very interesting to see how EECD documents what is happening within childcare within New Brunswick. There is some required reading around the occupational standards for early childhood educators in their how-to guide. As well as linked to that, there are a couple of very short videos. There's an introduction and use one. So they're just, like I say, they're just very short, but interesting. Probably one of the most important pieces for this week will be the viewing of the administrator interview around recruitment and retention. 'Cause this is where you're really going to begin to see another role that an administrator plays in the support of quality within their facilities. You do have a very short quiz, which will be graded, and then I have created a discussion for you, which is ungraded, but I would love to hear your ideas, your thoughts, your comments on everything that you have been learning during this past week. And so this is a way for you to provide some of that information, and definitely will help you to put your thoughts in order when you are thinking about this component of the administrator's role. So over the past several weeks, we've been exploring how effective administrative leadership can support successful business management of the overall early learning and childcare program. So we have looked at the administrator's roles in various types of programming. We have looked at their roles in legislative compliance. So that was that piece around the licensing that you had the opportunity to participate in. We have looked at financial stability, that component around how do you create a budget that supports the financial stability of a program. And sometimes at best, a budget can be a guideline for an administrator to follow. We've looked at ethical and legal obligations. And then we've begun to explore some of those effective human resource techniques. So when you put all of these together, all of these components add essential elements of quality to an early learning and childcare program. Now we're going to look at a different side of quality in a program and a totally different role that administrators play. So defining and measuring the quality of early learning and childcare, literature review identifies that the quality of early learning and childcare is a multi-dimensional concept. And that's what I was referring to previously, is that there are so many layers to this, so many pieces that an administrator needs to take on. They need to ensure those HR pieces. They need to ensure those budgeting pieces. They need to ensure meeting those legal and legislated obligations. But then there's the component of the effective operation of an early learning and childcare facility based on the program that it offers. So you would have seen this quote in a previous presentation, but I think it's really important to continue to think about this, especially as an administrator, because we know that the success of early education, despite all of those other pieces, you have to have a financially stable program. You have to have a program which meets legislated requirements. You have to have good HR policies. But we also, as administrators, know that the success of early education rests on its quality. But the quality of the program itself depends upon the educators and the leaders on the ground. We had talked about various educators and leaders on the ground, administrators being one of those leaders, educators, families, other people who participate within the program. So what we're going to look at now is beginning to delve deeper into the role that the administrator plays in fostering and maintaining quality as it relates to what children deserve, what families deserve, and what educators deserve. In Workman and Ulrich, they identified that the workforce is the most critical component of quality in an early childhood program. And this comes directly from transforming the workforce for children birth through 8, a unifying foundation. So you can go on and you can access this as a resource as well. So when you're thinking about this, you can have a financially stable budget that supports your program. You can follow all of the legislated requirements from the Early Childhood Services Act and the Operator's Manual. You can have the best HR policies in the world, but if you do not have an effective workforce, then your program will fall short. So we know that there are various factors which contribute to an effective workforce. So some of those things would be staff qualifications and working conditions. We also recognize that there are other components: staff-to-child ratios, effective curriculum, space and physical environments, group compositions in regards to children and educators. But we need to really consider the piece around structural quality for staff qualifications and working conditions. Because if you have a staff that works well together, if you have educators who work well together, educators who are well versed in child development, are knowledgeable about child-led and emergent curriculum, this is what's going to make your program more effective. And one of the components of that is around formal education and professional development for educators. When you view the video for the administrator interview around recruitment and retention, you are going to hear about an educator and how they looked at ways in which they would bring on into their facility the best employees that they could and how they retained them. So you're going to hear about recruitment of qualified educators and providing the opportunities for those educators to find and be ensured that they are aware of all of their roles and responsibilities. You're also going to hear in that video ways in which this administrator talked about retaining staff. And so really considering those working conditions for educators, such as competitive wages, benefits, recognition of skills, professional learning, and shared leadership. So as you move forward in this week's content, continue to consider how important the recruitment and the retention of high quality early childhood educators is to the success of a program and the role that an administrator plays in that component. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can email me at any point in time. If you are looking for further direction or would just like to have a conversation around any of the information that's provided, please do not hesitate to email me at any point in time. So I look forward to seeing how week 9 and the fostering of quality through recruitment and retention resounds with you. Have a great week, and we will be talking soon.